Ever get that sinking feeling like when your credit score takes a nosedive out of nowhere and you're racking your brain trying to figure it out? Like, was it that last minute Amazon purchase?
Yeah.
Or maybe that extra scoop of guacamole I put on my credit card last week? Like, we're being judged by this like shadowy figure in the background, right? And we have absolutely no clue about the rules of the game.
It's a feeling a lot of freelancers know all too well.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah. They're facing that unsettling reality every day.
It's true. And that's actually what we're diving into today with this research paper. It's called The Invisible Cage, Workers' Reactivity to Opaque Algorithmic Evaluations.
Yeah, it's a fascinating study that takes a really close look at how these opaque algorithms, these mysterious systems that rank and evaluate performance, how they're impacting this new generation of workers.
And we're not just talking about your average rideshare driver or food delivery person here.
Where?
This study, it really zeroes in on this platform called Talent Finder. And it's a platform that caters to highly skilled freelancers. We're talking software engineers, designers, you name it, they're on there.
Millions of users.
Millions. And billions of dollars are flowing through this platform.
What's interesting about Talent Finder is that, it operates in this space where defining what's good can be really subjective. So how do you actually measure the success of something like a killer ad campaign,
right,
or a complex software solution when there isn't like one right answer?
That's a great point. It's not like you can just, count widgets coming off an assembly line.
Exactly.
So how does a platform like Talent Finder even begin to measure quality when the work itself is so nuanced? Like, how do they put their finger on it?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And the study looks at how Talent Finder tries to address this challenge by implementing this complex algorithmic evaluation system. Basically, it's this black box that freelancers have very little visibility into.
Hold on. Are you saying they just switched to this opaque system without any warning?
Yep.
Leaving these freelancers totally clueless about how their work was being judged?
That's the crux of it.
Yeah.
And you can imagine the impact on these freelancers was significant, to say the least.
So let me get this straight. You're telling me these freelancers, many of whom are at the top of their game, suddenly they're just like at the mercy of this mysterious algorithm.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can't even imagine. That had to go over well.
You can imagine the anxiety. The study found that this sudden shift, it really created a wave of uncertainty among Talent Finder's freelancers.
Makes sense.
It's like imagine logging in one day and instead of seeing your normal ratings or feedback from clients, you're hit with this score.
Yeah.
This number that just kind of fluctuates.
Right.
And that's your life on the platform.
It's like waking up one day and your credit score is tanked, but you have absolutely no idea why.
Yeah.
And no idea how to even fix it.
And the thing is, the study really highlights how this lack of transparency, it leads to this real sense of powerlessness.
Yeah.
One freelancer even said they compared it to getting a grade in a class, but the grade was based on criteria you didn't know about.
Yeah.
They're putting in the work, but they just have zero control over how they're being evaluated.
Okay, so let's say Talent Finder wanted to switch things up. Why not just be transparent about it? Tell everybody exactly what the algorithm is measuring, make the criteria public. Wouldn't that solve the problem?
Well, so here's the thing. Talent Finder did actually offer some explanations. Right?
Okay.
And this is where it gets even more interesting.
Yeah.
They said that an opaque system is actually better at stopping people from gaming the system. They argued if you know how to get a perfect score, everyone's just going to do that.
Right. That makes sense. Like those restaurants that used to give you a free dessert if you gave them 5 stars on Yelp.
Exactly.
Suddenly, everyone's a critic.
Exactly. But, and here's the real kicker, Talent Finder also claimed that by not being transparent, it allowed them to, how do they put it? They said it helped them to differentiate between freelancers more effectively.
Wait, so you're saying by being less transparent, they could actually have more control over, how freelancers are ranked and how much they're valued?
Yeah, you could say that.
It sounds like they're almost using complexity as a way to, hide what's actually going on.
It's an interesting point.
Yeah.
And it gets to the heart of this concept of commodification.
Commodification. Okay, so that sounds kind of intense. What does that actually mean when we're talking about freelancers?
So think about it this way. It's like your entire career, everything you've learned, all your skills, all boil down to just one number. You become a product on a shelf.
Yeah.
With a price tag. And that's basically what commodification is. It takes something as complex as a human being and reduces them down to these simple metrics.
So instead of being valued for all their unique experience and talent, the algorithm's just trying to turn them into like interchangeable parts.
Exactly.
Which is kind of messed up when you really think about it.
Yeah, it's dehumanizing. And what's even more unsettling is the study found that this was happening in this really subtle way. Remember that whole private feedback thing?
Yeah, where clients could anonymously like rate a freelancer's likelihood of being recommended or whatever. It seemed kind of shady if you ask me. Like, what's the point of feedback if it's not even, public?
Well, it turns out the private feedback, it actually carried a lot of weight in the algorithm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, clients probably just thought they were giving some internal feedback.
Right.
But in reality, that anonymous feedback, those ratings, they were potentially making or breaking a freelancer's career.
So you've got freelancers who are completely in the dark, clients who are unknowingly calling the shots, and the platform just like orchestrating everything behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster.
So what happens next? How do people react to being stuck in this invisible cage?
So the study found that freelancers kind of reacted in one of two ways.
Okay.
The ones who are used to being at the top, the high performers, when they saw their scores drop, they went into overdrive.
Oh, so they're like, all right, algorithm 2 can play this game.
Exactly. And the researchers called this experimental reactivity. So they saw freelancers taking on shorter projects because they're hoping to rack up more ratings.
Makes sense.
They were hounding clients for those reviews. And some of them even resorted to, get this, taking work off platform, which is a huge risk.
Wow, desperate times. But this experimental reactivity, it just sounds exhausting. Like, how are you supposed to know how to change if you don't even know what the rules are?
It really highlights that sense of powerlessness. But not everyone went into overdrive, though. They found that the freelancers who were already doing well, who were getting high scores, they kind of took the opposite approach.
So they didn't want to rock the boat. They were too scared to do anything to mess with their score.
Exactly. Imagine, every decision you make, you're terrified that one wrong move is going to tank your score.
Living in fear.
Yeah, they become risk averse, sticking to familiar projects, avoiding new clients, basically trying to stay off the algorithm's radar.
It's like they're trapped in a gilded cage.
Yeah, and the researchers called that constrained reactivity. They were successful, but they were still being controlled,
This whole thing is giving me some serious Black Mirror vibes. This isn't just a freelancer problem, right? These opaque algorithms, they're everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Think about credit scores, social media, even dating apps. We are constantly being evaluated and sorted by these systems that we don't fully understand.
It's kind of creepy when you actually think about it. Like, we've just been going along with it, not really realizing how much it's affecting us.
Yeah, it's easy to forget, But by understanding how these systems work and the potential downsides, we can actually start demanding better. We can demand more transparency,
Well said. And on that note, have you ever felt trapped by one of these invisible cages? We'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and watch out for those algorithms.